send to back. Looks good enough. Actually, I might have to bring it out a bit more to put the letter. I'm going to grab the letter, select it, copy, paste, move the letter down there. And there you go, we're okay. Now, one thing we haven't talked about, of course, is saving. So I should have saved long ago. So I'm going to go File, Save As, and let's call this DNA Final. This is going to be my final image. We have to talk about a screenshot in a bit. So I've saved that, so everything's good. We can continue. So let's go ahead and do another nitrogenous base for this sugar. I'm just going to come up here, and I think I'm going to choose this structure here, this shape, whatever, and I'm going to draw that in, and you'll see what I'm doing in a second. I'm going to send to back, see how it looks. That looks okay. I should be able to get a letter in there, and then the opposite side is going to sort of have that part. It's going to fit in. Let's choose a different color. Let's see if that looks any good. All right, that's not bad. Deselect that. So, all right, so let's say that's my next nitrogenous base. I'm going to grab that letter, copy, paste, put it in there, and this is going to be cytosine. So double-click to bring up the edit text. Select your text. Make sure cap is on. And that's going to be a C. And how's that look? You select, yeah, that looks fine to me. So I now want to mirror this structure over here, so I'm going to take that, I'm going to copy, paste, just bring it under, send it back, and now I'm going to change the color to something similar, but not exact, so looks like it would fit, so that's okay. So I'm going to grab that letter, copy, paste, come over here, double click, make this a G, check mark. Okay, just maybe move it down a little bit. I might change these colors to black after. So we're doing okay. So now let's take this and we'll put it down here as well, but we'll do the opposite. So I'm going to copy, paste, bring it over here. All right, but I don't want the same shape. I don't want that to be a guanine again coming out like that. So I'm going to flip this. So I'm just going to come up here and click this button. All right, and that flips it horizontally. I'm going to send it to back. I'm going to pull it out so I got enough room to add some text. So that looks okay. So now that that's done, I'm going to grab the C, copy and paste, move the C down to here. And now I want the other side, so I'm going to grab this one, copy, paste, bring it down here, but I don't want those two ends, obviously. So I've got to flip this horizontally as well. So I'm going to do that, bring it in, send it to back, and that looks good enough. So that's another guanine. So copy the G, put the G right there. All right, let's zoom out and see how it looks. That's not looking too bad. Well, now let's try to get the spacing a little bit less in here. So I'm going to try to select all of this stuff so I can move it over. So I'm going to draw a big box around it, and I'm going to hope that it's got everything. So I'm just going to move it over a bit and see, yeah, everything's moved. So let me really try to get that in the position that I want it to be in. You might decide later on that certain things aren't exactly like this. Looks like that thing could come up a little bit, but we're not really going to worry about that. That looks good enough. Okay, we got thymine, adenine, cytosine, guanine. Everything's good. So now I can take this whole thing again, grab the whole thing, move it all into the middle. All right, so it's looking good. I'm going to hit save just to make sure. Almost every single thing you do, you want to hit save so you don't lose your work. Okay, well, most of the graphics are basically done, aside from maybe touching up a few things. And, you know, you could experiment with different colors and gradients and sort of some 3D effects if you like. I'm just going for the basic tutorial here. But now I remember that we're going to have to add a title up here, add your name maybe down below, and label these things as well. So I've decided I'm going to grab all of this and I'm going to move it over to the side, somewhere like that, and I'm going to do some labeling. All right, so what I'm going to do now in order to label these things is I want to grab an arrow like this, and I'm going to pull out that arrow, and just move your mouse around so you get the shape, let's say, that you want to have. And let's say I was happy with it. You can mess around with these too, all right, and find out what they do. See if I can get a better shape on that. All right, let's say something like that. Maybe I'll make that black. go back to this regular arrow up here. It's just showing the selection. And now I've got to rotate this. I want to rotate it 90 degrees. Yeah, so you see what I did? I click that button. You just experiment with these different buttons. You can see what they do. All right. So let's say I'm just going to experiment here. Let's say that arrow was pointing there, and that would represent my sugar. I'm just going to copy and paste a couple times and see what it would look like. That could be my phosphate. So I got my sugar, my phosphate. Now, how to get these nitrogenous bases? What I think I'm going to do here is I'm going to paste another arrow here, and what'll I do? Maybe I'll come down here. Let's try rotating that. Whoops, moved it over to there. Okay, so now it's pointing the wrong way. I don't want it that way, so I'm going to try that. There we go. I can maybe make this smaller, like that. Maybe I'll do that, maybe a bit longer. And that way I can just generally say nitrogenous base. Maybe I'll move these out so they don't quite touch, or a little bit of space as well. Might look a little bit better. So, sugar, phosphate, nitrogenous base. We should probably grab an entire nucleotide as well. We'll look at doing that in a second. So let's put down some text. So come over to the text tool, drag out where I want it, roughly that big, and I'm going to call that deoxyribose. Whoops, sugar. It obviously won't be that big in a minute. Okay. I got the whole thing. All right, so I got to change the size of that. So I'm just going to scroll out here, and I'm going to grab one of these edges and make it somewhat smaller. Okay, it's going past the pink line, so it's too small. There we go. Deoxyribose sugar. That looks all right. So copy, paste, bring it up here, double click, type in phosphate, hit the check. That looks okay as well. I'm going to copy that, paste, bring that down here, change that to say this.